Hello guys, let's give you a quick guide on your gear, so to speak, and how to marry up your casting reel and casting rod for maximum casting distance. So first off, let's look at the rod. I'll show you on this. I think this is the best one to go by. When you purchase a rod, it'll just show you up here, or when you're looking at a rod in your inventory, this is what you get. If you press this here, it gives you all this information. So it's an ultralight rod. We know that because we bought it. That's what we wanted, and these are the benefits that this will give you. Not all rods give you these benefits. More often than not, you'll pay extra to get these benefits. This is the load capacity of this rod is 14 kilogram. So this means that this is the maximum weight of line that you want to be putting on this rod. Now, nobody ever puts a 14 kilogram line on this rod. You won't do that anyway. Even if it was a 20 kilogram rod or 300 kilogram rod, you won't put 300 kilogram line on it. You always stay below it, because you want your line to be the weakest link. As you can see, it's a 14 kilogram rod, and I've got 13 kilogram line. That's fine. That's perfectly fine, because I've got a 12 kilogram leader. So it's 2 kilogram under. You always stay under. Always do it at the very least 2 kilogram under. Most people will go about 5, maybe 10 kilogram under, giving a bit of headroom. But even though I've got 12 kilogram on here, this setup's still fine. Because I'll explain. Right. When you buy the rod from brand new, obviously there's no wear on it whatsoever. It's 14 kilogram. This rod now is not a 14 kilogram rod, because the blank has taken some wear, 13.3% wear. So it's basically 14 minus the 13.3%. That gives me then the true strength of my rod. And the line guides, these are just, I think the more wear that these taken, I think do more wear to your line, and quite possibly very slightly affect your casting distance. Now, these are replaceable. You can replace them. This is not replaceable, so eventually you end up throwing the rod away. You can't repair this. I don't know why, but for some strange reason they've decided that you're not going to be able to repair the blanks anymore. When I think it's stupid, because in real life you can replace your blanks of your rods if they become damaged. So that's that. But you're probably thinking, hang on a minute, his blank is taking all that damage. It's a 14 kilogram rod, and surely his line and his leader is too heavy for this setup. No, that's not strictly true, because my leader has also taken some damage. That's taken some wear. So my leader is not 12 kilogram. It's 12 kilogram minus 15.2%. So this rig is still fine to use. If I stuck on a brand new 12 kilogram leader, chances are, if I look up my reel, I've got a very good chance of snapping my rod, because it's a brand new 12 kilogram leader, and because my rod has took so much damage on the blank lot. So there's a good chance that I could snap it. So you just got to make sure that your leader, your line, is the weakest link on there. That's all you need to do, and you'll be fine. So let's have a look at the reels. So your reels, you've got different types of reels. You've got your spinners, you've got your low profile, you've got your classic bait casting, and you've got your conventional. Everything still applies. Everything is exactly the same for these, right across the board. All this bit here, your casting reels have one slight little difference, which I'll show you in a minute. Your mechanism, people call this the max drag. No, this is not the max drag. This is your max drag, the friction brake. That is your max drag. This is the mechanism. This is the true power of your reel. This is what your reel is able to handle when you lock up the reel. When you look at this, it says max drag here. That is 18.1 kilogram. That is referring to your friction brake. That is what the amount of pain or power that you apply when you put this reel onto 29. It's using your whole friction brake, which is 18.1 kilogram. Your mechanism is, I'll show you on here. Let's get rid of that. Is here, look. This is just, this isn't that reel, this is a different reel, but I'll explain it. Look at this, it says rated drag 36.3. That's the friction brake. That is how much pressure you would apply to the fish when you put that reel on friction brake 29, the one before locking it. The maximum amount of friction brake on it. When you lock the reel, you apply 128 kilogram to that fish, provided you've got strong enough line on there. I mean, no point locking your reel 120 kilogram if you've only got 60 kilogram line on there, because you're not using the full power of the reel. Then you're just using the full power of the line. So that's basically it. But this takes damage. Say for instance, if that was that reel that I was showing you, it would be, the mechanism would be 128 kilogram minus 20%. That would then give you the full strength of the reel. Same as a friction brake, 36.9 whatever it was, minus 6.9%, which then will give you the maximum friction brake on the reel. The mechanism is repairable. I don't know how to repair it. I just thought that they would replace it, but it's repairable. The more wear that it takes, the more costly it will be to repair. Your ball bearings, I think, are one fixed price because they're replacement. Your friction brake is a replacement. That's one fixed price. Your spool again is a replacement. I think is one fixed price. So these three here, no matter how much wear you've taken on there, it's just going to cost you the same to repair, to replace them. Your mechanism, people generally on a rule of thumb wait until it's taken at least, or thereabouts, about 40 to 50% wear before they replace it, but that all depends on what setup you're using it on. If you've got a reel on there that's got 120 kilogram mechanism on it, and you're using it on a setup that is, say for argument's sake, 100 kilogram, your line's 100 kilogram, and your rod's say 140 kilogram or something, you don't want to be running the mechanism down to 30, 40 or 50%, because the chances are you're going to shatter your reel if you lock it up, because it took too much wear on the mechanism. Your grease, I think, scales backwards compared to the mechanism. I think your grease, the least wear it takes, the more costly it can become to replace it. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think that's what I noticed once over. I had two identical reels, both had the same grease on. One had only something like 10% wear on the grease, and one has like 50% wear on the grease or somewhere around there, and they both cost differently. One cost a lot more than the other, and it was the one that had the least wear that cost the most. So I think this scales backwards. I think this scales, so a lot of people wait until about 50% grease is left, and then replace the grease, or sometimes even lower. But if they replace the friction brake or any other part of the reel, they'll then re-grease it together. That's what people normally do. Right, on the casting reels, everything is exactly the same. The mechanism and everything, all this is exactly the same. This applies right across the board to all the reels. The difference is on these reels is you've got a test from 18 grams. What this means is that optimally this reel will cast any lure or any rig that weighs at least 18 grams, so 18 grams upwards. So that will give me the optimum performance for casting. The heavier the lure or the weight that I'm casting, the further it will travel. That's basically what that means. That's all that is. This is all your line capacity. That's all self-explanatory. The only thing you've got to watch on some reels though now is that if you put on too much weight, you can knacker your friction brake up. Or I think I've done my friction brake doing it that way, and my grease. And I think somebody's done the mechanism or ball bearings, one of the two, when they cast out too much weight on it. So maybe they does need to apply now from 18 grams to whatever this reel can handle. So yeah, that's one of the difference between the casting reels and these fixed spool. The reason why is when you cast from a fixed spool or spinning reel, all you do is open the bail arm and the line falls off when you cast. So that's all that is it. The spool doesn't spin at all, it just falls off the line. Where with your casting reels, the actual spool spins, and that's why they have a test on them. So how do you marry it up? How do you marry up these things? So go back to the ultralight again. So if you look, my test on my rod is 1 to 5 grams. Like I said, you don't want to go over the 5 grams. But if you look at the reel test is from 1.6 grams. So my casting ability becomes from 1.6 grams up to 5 grams. So on this setup, I would generally I would use like a 3.5 gram to a 5 gram lure, and that would give me the optimum casting performance. Means that, you know, the maximum casting distance that this rig or this rod will be able to handle on that reel. For argument's sake, let's have a look at. I've got another one somewhere. Where is it? Look at this one. Yeah, this one. So if you look at this, this says the test of this rod is from 12 grams to 60 grams. So that means I can cast up to anything 60 grams. This rod will be able to handle before it's overweight. But my reel is rated from 15 grams. So look at the test, it says 15 grams. So rather than my setup now being able to cast anything from 12 to 60 grams, it's basically 15 to 60 grams. Because my reel is optimal for where it's over 15 grams. So that's what that explains there. So that's how you marry them up. So I think that's it, guys. I think, oh, that's the thing. Your reels do have a maximum weight they can cast. Your casting reels, that is. Your spinners would be fine, because it just falls off. There's no spool spinning. But since the map, the C map, people have been complaining about some casting reels being broken on one cast. That's because they've had too much weight on the reel. So you can apply too much weight to a reel now. So just be careful of that when, if you cast out and that does happen, that's because you had too much weight to it. There's no indication about it, it doesn't tell you. It's just, I've done it once. I actually did it the first time, and I thought, oh, what's happened there? And then I put another reel on, did exactly the same thing happened, and then I realised afterwards that it was, the weight was too heavy. So just be careful of that. And I think that's it. I think that concludes everything. So I'm going to leave it there for you guys, and happy fishing. Bye bye.